log in tonight. Welcome to Child Care Aware of America's informational webinar series for providers, early brain development, tools, and resources. This evening is the second webinar in this three-part series, and tonight we'll be focusing on Vroom tips. Last week we talked about the science behind Vroom, around this great brain-building app, and so we're going to continue that conversation again this evening. What are brain? You incorporate them into your daily routines with the children in your care. Holding on just a second. Good evening. That's me. Hi, I'm Mary Lamantia. I'm the Senior Director for the Vroom Partnership Project here at Child Care Aware of America. This evening, I'm honored to share the microphone with my colleague.
Hi, I'm Fitzgerald Draper. I'm a Senior Researcher here at Child Care Aware of America. Child Care Aware of America's vision is that every family in the United States has access to high-quality, affordable child care. Through CCAOA's Family and Community Engagement Department, we are uniquely positioned to share high-quality, innovative tools like Vroom with early care and education programs in families across the nation to stimulate child experiences and enhance the everyday early moments that form the foundation of each child's development. We are able to focus directly on enriching high-quality child care services with Vroom Partnership Project, bringing this important initiative to programs and families across the nation. If you can change the beginning of the story, you can change the whole story. Now let's pause. Let's talk about this story. Our previous webinar explained the latest research out of Washington University's iLab Center, providing us with basic understanding of the science. Let's refresh ourselves with some key facts we touched on from the first webinar. We learned that the brain develops from the base upward. Basic skills are complex, touch sensitivity to complex thinking, and so on. At most, the immature organ in the body is the brain. But over those first 2,000 days, it grows rapidly. So by the age of 3, the brain is 85% of the adult size. And by the age of 5, it's over 90%. So let's think about the experiences that your children have going through these periods. We know that we are born with all the brain cells and neurons we'll ever have. The environment we encounter determines how the brain develops. But it's those relationships that ignite the children's experiences and develops the brain, as well as the child's potential. Here's a key point. This period is both an opportunity for tremendous positive development, but it's also a vulnerability because negative experiences can also affect the child. So, how does Vroom help us?
Thanks, Fitz. Vroom provides you and I with daily brain-building suggestions. They encourage awareness and the use of moments in your daily routines for fun brain-building moments. And remember, it's based on the latest science. These tips are designed to fit into the daily routines of young children. Vroom has over 1,000 brain-building tips that are accessed via joinvroom.org website or using the free smartphone app to reach you wherever you are during the day. And they're in both English and in Spanish. Let's remind ourselves about the 3 key principles that the Vroom tips are based upon, and that is the first one, priority, and positive relationships, those positive relationships between the adult, the caregiver, the parent, family member, and the young child. It's based upon that back and forth interaction, that give and take. And it's also based on promoting life skills such as the executive function skills. All those things we touched on in our previous webinar. Each Vroom tip or suggested interaction incorporates these principles, and all Vroom resources like this presentation are designed to share these principles through tips. Vroom has taken these 3 principles and built them into actions that make up brain-building moments. Now that we understand what all tips are based upon, let's dig deeper into what Vroom tips involve. And you see this flyer. This was downloadable for you at the beginning of the webinar, and it's also downloadable free on the Join Vroom website. But these are the brain-building tips. These are the actions, the experiences that each tip is built upon. Maybe looking, maybe following, maybe chatting, maybe taking turns. We now have a video that we want to share with you. And believe me, I understand about the buffering that went on previously. This is a YouTube video, and we want you to focus on what they are saying. Don't let the jumping around of the video disrupt your comprehension of what they are saying, because it really is a powerful video. So sit back and enjoy the video.
Enjoy.
I'm doing the right thing. The brain develops most rapidly on the foundation for lifelong learning. Vroom showed us that we didn't have to put more on our plate. It's about what we already do, time and those moments worth it. So the moment your baby is born, the interactions you share with them can help strengthen the connections that build their brain. Vroom has worked with scientists and experts to turn this brain-building science into something simple, something that doesn't change what you do with your child, but how you do it. We call it the 5 brain-building basics. Look, even before babies can talk, they're showing you what they're interested in. Look into their eyes, or look catches their eyes, and begin brain building. Follow. Powerful brain building moments are created when you let children lead the way. And you follow by responding to their words, sounds, actions, and ideas. Chat. It may not seem like it, but the sounds and gestures young children know are their way of communicating with you. So talk out loud together, even if they can't talk yet, and keep chatting as your children grow, engaging them and learning about the world around them. Take turns. Back and forth interactions between you and your children are one of the most important ways to help their brains develop. So be sure to take turns while you're talking, playing, or exploring with your children. Stretch. Make the moment last longer by building on what your child says, or asking follow-up questions that expand your child's thinking and learning. When you stretch the conversation with questions like, what do you think about that? Or, how does that make you feel? You're stretching the brain-building moments too. By partnering with families, friends, and community organizations, Vroom is here to help trigger brain-building interactions between you and your child, using the moments you already share together. You've actually taught your child something when you don't think you're teaching. He's learned something new and he's still learning. When she gets something, it makes me feel like I'm the best mom in the world. You already have what it takes to be a brain builder. After all, when you look down at them, there's a reason they're already looking up to you. Vroom. Make any moment a brain building moment.
The great thing about these 5 brain-building basics is that most parents already do these things with their children. And I bet you those of you who are parents are nodding that in agreement with what the video had to say. Isn't that a great video? It's terrific to share with parents at parent meetings, etc. So it's emphasizing and illustrating those simple daily interactions and how they can help children now and in the future.
Now let's look at some examples that CCR&R has provided to us when they're reaching out to parents and families. Here's an opportunity for brain building. How often during the day might you and your child be near a mirror? This is a perfect opportunity. This is a very intimate moment, and I'm sure a lot of you have done this already before. How this might be a brain building moment? So if you play mirror, mirror, during changing time, see if there's something safe that's like a mirror that you can use with your child. Point to their nose and say, there's your nose. Can you find your mouth? Your eyes? Have a conversation about what your child is finding. Even the most routine task, like diaper changing, provides an opportunity for your child to explore and learn about the world. Finding parts of his or her face in the mirror and naming them builds concepts and vocabulary, and it's also fun. And I can attest to that because I do that with my daughter as well. Let's look at another. Simple resources such as cups can stimulate brain building. How? The cup tower. You don't need much to build fun things around your house. Grab a few plastic cups and stack them into a tower, and then show your child how fun it is to knock them down. Hand the cups over to them or her. Have a go. Take turns building all kinds of new towers. Supporting children as they explore and discover will help them become learners for life. This game also helps your child discover how the physical world around him or her works. Have a back and forth conversation about his or her discoveries.
You know, it's important, I think, Fitz, in these particular activities that in order to keep a control of them, knocking the towers down and all that, that we maintain the conversation as we're working with the child and we're stacking them, pointing out the different ways they can be stacked, the different positions on the table. Just a thought I'd share.
That's a great point. I'd also like to add on to that. So taking turns is one of those 5 brain-building basic steps. Also, chatting to communicate, it builds vocabulary. So let's change our direction to find out just how you can access these Vroom tips. And these Vroom tips have been very helpful, as 87% of Vroom ambassadors found these tip cards to be very useful.
So how can you do this? On your computer or on your cell phone app? Now, next week's webinar, later on, I think it's the 19th, the webinar on the app itself, and we'll go through how to download and use the app. But today we're going to focus on joinvroom.org website, where anybody can go. So when you look at the website, you tap in joinvroom.org. This is the screen that currently comes up. Vroom is always working to improve, so the screen may change in the future, but the dashboard at the top where you see science and facts, tools and activities, people and partners. So we've talked a little bit about the science and some of the key facts. Tonight we're going to talk about the tools and activities, but I've also mentioned to you a little bit about the people, the scientists and all that have been involved with all of this. So if you're curious, you can go to that portion of the website. But for tonight's purposes, we're going to pretend that we've tapped on the middle icon for tools and activities. So when you do that, the screen next that shows up highlights in teal green the tools and activities, and then it emphasizes the fact that every day is filled with fun-filled ways to build your child's brain. I don't know if any of you have tried that, but do go in and see what they have to offer. So now that we've done that, the next down, you can see the little teal arrow at the bottom. That encourages you to scroll down. So when you scroll down, if you tap onto the section on Vroom activities, you can contribute by sharing your thoughts and activities with Vroom. Here's how. In this section, your Vroom activities, there's a blank template at the bottom for you to type in your activity. Then underneath the screen, you click the tab that reads Submit this activity. So when you do that, you've become a valuable contributor. But you contributed what? Well, you might have shared something that you've done for years growing up, or that your parents did with you that was a stimulating experience between that age range, or something that you currently do with your child. It may even be something that is a cultural practice that is done in your community, and you feel it's very contributing to brain development for young children. So that is one that you can share with them, because they love getting input from the community out there. So this is the screen that you would see. That where it says Start Here is where you would type in your suggested tip. And below this on the computer screen, though it's not seen here, is a highlighted tab where it will suggest that you tap here in order to submit your idea. They'll take it, and who knows, down the line, you may see your Vroom tip on one of their future downloadable tips. So you can have Vroom materials for free, and here's how. So further down on the computer screen, there will be a section Vroom Tools. And it tells you that you can download and print any of their resources. What they use to get that to you is the Dropbox folder. So you'll click on that, and when you click on that screen, it gives you an index of the options that you can download. You see the options starting at the very top. We have one circled, which is one we're going to talk about shortly. But before I go further, I stuck my arrow at the bottom because I think this is something terribly exciting about the Vroom materials. The Vroom Partnership Project and Vroom itself is always trying to continue to improve. And so they've made the Vroom tips and the flyers and the postcards available in also Chinese and Russian.
And here's a fun tip, Mary. 21% of American households have a primary language other than English that they speak at home.
So this is where Vroom is trying to stay up to date and address the needs of children and families as they need these particular types of resources. So go Vroom, Vroom, Vroom. Okay, so let's go back to the top. Tip cards, PDF. So when you tap on that, this is the next screen that would come up. And the first two languages for all the resources are English and Spanish. So everything is in English and Spanish. For our purposes today in our webinar, we're going to be looking at the English version of these materials. And again, remember, they are free and downloadable for you. So since we've been talking about tips, I clicked on tip cards, I clicked on English, so this is the next index that comes up. There are the first two languages that are available, English and Spanish. We're now looking at this for tip cards, and you'll notice the groupings. There's group tip cards for 0 to 1, or tip cards for 0 to 5. And then they're even broken down to finer ages, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. So you can go in based on your child's age and print just for your child, or you can print the whole set that's there and available for you. Again, they have it where it uses, you can see, low ink, so you're not going to be absorbing a lot of cost to you as far as for printing and all. But that is really something that I think you're going to find most helpful when you're looking at these. So let's say we clicked on, tip cards 2 to 3. When you tap on that, the next screen that comes up is a cover screen. It's like a cover page to a document. It briefly explains what you're just going to be opening, and it's the activities, if you can read in there, for children ages 2 to 3. So those are approximate age ranges, nothing steadfast at 24 months or 36 months. It varies, but if I was working with a child that was, 2.2 months, I'd be downloading the tips before and the tips after. So I have before, during, and after going for me there. So then you open it up, you continue to open up this document, and here's how the tips are provided to you. Again, the tip, the interaction, the description of the interaction that would happen between the adult and the caregiver is what is described very simply on the left-hand side. Underneath the paragraph is the rough age range. Remember, we said we were looking into 2s and 3s. And then they've taken the brainy background and they've translated it to what I passionately call user-friendly language, and that's on the right-hand side. And what that does is, one, make you aware of the brain-building science that supports child's growth and development in that particular activity in a very, very positive way. The other thing that I think is important to note about all of these tips that you are able to download or have tip cards for, they're made sure that they wrote them at a 5th grade reading level, similar to your, Sunday paper type of thing. So they're not in here to confuse us and to use typical jargon, but to make it what I call user-friendly. So here is the sample of what you might download on a tip page and print out for yourself. So now we're going to return to this particular page again because I want to draw your attention to the top of the index there. And it's talking about tip cards, bedtime math. Now, one of the principles is that meet the parent, the child, the caregiver where they are. And either in programs or at night, there's always got to be some type of napping going on, so to speak. So they have a special section for these bedtime materials, and you'll look at the age range there, age 2 through 5. So if we tapped on that, Guess what comes up? Yep, that cover screen again. Again, giving you a little opening paragraph to discuss or to describe to you what you're opening. These activities that are built into a daily routine for you and your child, and how you can use them to develop math skills.
And once again, you can look on here and see that this is for ages 2 to 5.
Gotcha. Good point. Always note that. Now, again, you may find something, all children do not grow and develop at the same pattern and the same path and the same time range. So it's important to look at all the different tips for all the age ranges. Frankly, I'd want to download the whole thing myself. Got to have a lot of paper in your printer, though, guys. Okay, and then here you go. This is what they look like. These are a bit more colorful now, but you'll notice the age ranges. There's 3 to 5, 2 to 3, 2, 3, and 4. So again, make note of that. But again, don't hold yourself strictly to it. Look at the activity. See if you need to just look around and see what's around you, or you may need to have the plastic cups out of your cabinet or whatever. And then also validate what you've done by becoming aware of what the brainy background is behind it, but then also learning more about it and feeling good about what you've done with the children for bedtime math. I'm sure you can probably use that at some point in time during your day, whether it's at the program level or it's at the home level. Remember, Vroom is designed to be built into your daily routine, meeting parents, families, and child care providers, meeting you where you are at.
Great. And to further highlight how you might spread Vroom in your program, let's take a look at a few more examples of what our CCR&Rs have done. A tall tale. At your child's next diaper change, tell him or her a silly story about the tallest little child in the world while stretching their arms over their head. Your voice is your favorite child. It's your child's favorite sound. Even though he or she can't talk back yet, he or she has already taken in your words and using them to build the foundation for language later on.
I find it interesting. We talk about babbling and they're not able to talk, but you know what? I disagree. Children are talking at that age, but they're talking in their language, not your and my language.
Exactly.
They're still talking, and we need to talk back to them. I like that one, too.
Totally agree. And what can be done about this tip to share? There's a lot of possibilities. You can hand this off to parents. You can highlight it in your newsletters. You can even have it in a lobby bulletin for families to read as they're coming in and out.
Great idea.
And here's another daily routine, the hand wash. Let your child be your partner as you wash up before dinner. Say it's time to wash your hands, yours and mine. Put soap on both your hands and lather them up. Be silly. As you dry your hands off, do you shake it? Do you toss the towel back and forth? Do you make a hand juggle? What else can you do? Making your child your partner in hand washing helps him or her learn about this important routine. Back and forth conversational words and gestures build relationships. You can say, you can wash your hands. I like to play around with this as well. I like to change my voice a lot. Maybe some of the Cookie Monster, just to get more fun into it. I won't torture you guys with my invitation.
Thank you, Fitz. Thank you.
You're welcome. We all know how important it is to establish critical hygiene health habits early and consistently. So remember, Vroom is designed to be built into your daily routine, whether it's meeting the parents, families, and caregivers, wherever you are. Here's another routine, the window watcher. Ask your child if he or she wants to look out the window and be a window watcher. Follow his or her gaze as you point to see what they see. Show him or her what you're looking at. Create names for what's out there and talk about what each of these things are doing. Your child is going back and forth with you about what they see. He or she is learning from you. Naming what you see will help them increase their vocabulary in meaningful ways.
That reminds me of one of the brain building basics, back and forth, give and take. That is one of the 5 brain building basics. And you can see as Fitz reads the brainy background, you can try to recall what those 5 brain building basics are and identify them for yourself when they're described in each one of these activities.
That's a great point, Mary. And this may not be a daily routine that you do, but it's certainly be something that you can experience with a curious young child. So you can look out the window and just talk about what you're looking at. Whether you're in a home provider setting or just a caregiver or a parent, this is just another simple opportunity you can take advantage to offer your child a brain-building activity. There's no materials needed for this.
That's exciting. You can do it in the car, too.
Oh, yeah. So even though this shop implies a care facility, I know that there's a popular song that just shows to sing, Are You Happy? No matter where, this interaction offers so many learning opportunities using the brain-building basics. Helping children to focus. You're looking, watching each other. You're following each other. You're chatting, talking, singing, and you're reciting communications. You're taking turns. And you're stretching to see what we'll do next in the song. I hope learning more about Vroom is making you happy. Sure is making me happy.
It really is an exciting program. I think you're going to find it extremely valuable programs. I think we've got a couple more.
Sure. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Colorful World. When you're out with your child, team up with him or her to find colors. Have him or her point out something and name the color. Then you can name all the things that you can think of in the same color. Take turns playing this game.
You know, you say these things and you talk about it, and I know that it's things that people do every single day.
Yeah.
And we just think it's filling time or it's a fun little game at the time, but we're making those fireworks go off in the brain and really promoting brain development. That's what's exciting about this.
And that's what's really fun about Vroom. It's a lot of activity that's already being done, and a lot of parents are doing brain-building activities without even knowing it.
Exactly. Good point.
And so when you're thinking about characteristic objects that they have in common, whether it's the color, shapes, or size, you're sparking connections in your child's brain.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, and there are national awareness days all around us. For example, did you know that September 9th is Teddy Bear Day?
No. Bear Day.
Yeah, I just found that out this morning.
Hey, we can do with it.
Next is some examples of CCRNRs and how they use these days to share Vroom tips with their communities. And here are a few Vroom tips. And as you notice, the age ranges are in the bottom left corner, just in case you want to see where your kid is and whatever tips that you share to use. As Mary mentioned before, feel free to not be limited by the age group.
And, you know, the activities, if you'll notice, these are ones that some of our pilot sites did, obviously, last year in 2016. So, you know, go on the internet and find some of those national days that people are celebrating. We had a National Sandwich Day one day, and that was exciting to have. I know we've had a couple others. So check it out, and then you can go in and find the Vroom tip.
I'm waiting for National Pizza Day.
Okay. But how do we do this? How do we find these things?
Great. So here are some CCRNR examples. So the process for you to search through these downloaded tips is it's easy to do. So it's fun for families to enjoy stimulating and promoting tips for brain building. You can do this too. So all you need to do is just look at your computers in the search tool to find keywords, finding relatable tips by pressing Control F. Search keywords in Vroom tips. Find Vroom tips for special days, weeks, months, activities, and tips and actions. These can be even used on display tables. There are different categories such as colors, reading, eating, singing, etc. You can add these to your monthly, quarterly newsletters, your bulletin, or even center menus.
Hey, I'm sure you can find something for Teddy Bear Day next week.
Oh, yeah.
This weekend, I think.
It's coming.
Thank you, Sis. Those are really exciting, and there's so many more that you can do. So step out of your box, be creative, and find a day which you can celebrate with a tip. So now, how are tips displayed? What are useful ways for programs to display these resources so to stimulate attention and attraction to the parents as well as the other adults and your other colleagues? This is a bulletin board we wanted to share with you that one of our providers was doing in upstate New York. It's very much an informational bulletin board. You notice in the upper left, they've identified those 5 brain-building basics as a reminder of the simplicity of the Vroom tips. The Vroom posters are used. Those are on the lower left-hand and the upper right-hand corner. Those are available. You can download those too. You can even co-brand them with your logo, and we'll show you how to do that in a little bit. The Vroom posters are used to illustrate simple, everyday experiences that a family might encounter. It gives you the tip, and again, it gives you the brainy science behind it. Then a few more tips are selected along the side, and then also the blank template, or on the middle, and then the blank template on the right is there to I guess, let everyone know that you can contribute your own idea for a tip and then submit it. So that's a good reminder. It's a good demonstration. It's a good representation of what the Vroom tips are all about. It serves to help refresh their knowledge, stimulate their child-family engagement, and provides simple suggestions and encourages their contributions. Now this one was interesting. This is a California display that was set up in their agency's library, obviously a very interactive environment. On the left, it was a fun-filled tactile experience for great language development, communication, and of course those small motor skills. Then the daily weather with the 5 basics: looking, chatting, stretching, using observation skills, math skills, sequence skills, comparative skills, and so on. I know I'm preaching to the converted. You guys do this all the time, but they're all critically important for brain building experiences.
Well, great job, by the way, guys.
Yeah, so, amen. Whether an interagency display or a partner display at a local library, any other institution, even a local laundromat, brain building can happen and does happen anywhere and everywhere. So here's a table display that was done in our Birmingham, Alabama shop, possibly in an office library. It could be in your office lobby. It could be in a local community outreach program, their lobby. It could be in a library, etc., or even in offices such as dental offices or physicians' offices. You know, when they have the looping videos in there, they might encounter, you might share with them Vroom, and certainly something very attractive and very helpful for their clients as they come in. So again, this also illustrates Vroom is about meeting parents where they are, and they could be in the dentist's office. This one is a demonstration for providers in the early childhood care community, because this is another way of spreading the word about Vroom, and that is at our local professional development conferences. This one was done in upstate New York, around the capital area, and there they used stands for their flyers. They printed the flyers out. Those are the handouts that was, for downloading last time and this time. You can download those off the website. Then they've even developed a few more of their other resources. But also, if you look on the right-hand side, another way of promoting it with caregivers is sharing the posters. And the very bottom of the poster on the right, you can see a little white margin, and that's where we'll show you a little bit later, where you can put your own agency logo, because you are promoting and supporting the development of children. An easy thing to do, so we'll be glad to share that with you. This last scene is an interactive bulletin board from Alabama, and we know that interaction always helps learning, and it stimulates sharing, as this board at a family event in Birmingham did. It attracted the adult to go over, to flip up a card, to see what was under the sign. So they were very pleased with this particular display and found it very successful for the community. Now we want to look about the co-branding, okay?
Yeah, and as Mary mentioned earlier, you can co-brand these posters. So let's take a brief look at the posters and let's learn how to customize them for your program. Notice these 2 posters and how they've been customized at the bottom. You can do that too. Here's how. So let's go back to the website. Where you went to Tools and you scroll down to Materials to download, on this index screen, select Posters. And please note that these screens give you 2 options. One's for printing, and the second's for customizing your logo. At this point, you can select English or Spanish. And take a note, too, that these are 6 different posters that you can do. And then here's an index that indicates the different posters you can customize, you can save, you can then print and use them for your own distribution. This is a perfect way to let your families and community know that you're all about brain building and that you're the source for more information.
Exactly. The posters are, you can print them small, or you can actually get them enlarged and go very, very large too. And they're, again, very simple, useful tips, emphasizing the 5 brain building basics, based on those 3 key principles. So the posters are a great way to promote. We've even seen them where they've promoted and posted these at laundromats, because we know parents are doing laundry and sometimes they go to the laundromat. So why not at a laundromat have it? And hey, sorting socks, they can help with the sorting of the socks too.
Absolutely. Very quick and easy to use.
Great learning experience as well. So again, to the website, to the tools and activities, joinvroom.org provides you the access to all their resources and the freedom to print and download what you need, the quantities that you need, and to even co-brand some of those resources so that your community knows that you are promoting brain development and that your agency name is on there. It's a wonderful opportunity. Check out these different social media platforms as well. Make sure that you check out the youtube.com so that you can not only see the videos without much of that buffering, or at least less of it, that's for sure. And the videos are absolutely wonderful. Use them in parent meetings, use them in staff trainings, use them to even talk with your local physicians or your other service agencies that are there, because they can loop them in a video in their lobbies as well. Our California site did that in their lobby where they had their library, and they had people coming there and sitting them and just watching them. And children love to watch other children on TV, and then the parents are hearing the messages that are coming through. So, and what's also exciting about the Vroom videos, those are not actors and actresses. Those are parents, real families that they have videotaped and used to illustrate what a tip really looks like. So what's exciting about all this is everything that we've been talking about. We've talked about what Vroom tips are. We've talked about those 3 key principles. We've talked about the 5 brain-building basics and way to engage families, how to use the website and download information off of the website to the quantity that you need, how to share your ideas with Vroom by sending in your ideas on that blank template, of course, how to print and display tips and any posters around your agency, your program, and beyond, and how to coordinate them with your daily program and environments, or check out those national days of celebration. Remember, visit these platforms to learn more and share Vroom. Well, we've come to the conclusion of this webinar for this evening. This is the second. As you see, our next one is coming up on the Vroom app, specifically about the Vroom app. It'll be Tuesday, September the 20th. Again, at 8 p.m. Eastern and all the lesser times as you go across country. We want to thank you for your time and your interest in Vroom. Fitz, thank you for sharing the platform with me tonight. This was fun.
Thanks for having me.
We look forward to having our next webinar on Tuesday, September 20th. Good evening, everyone.
Have a great night.